Excel 2016, Module 12, pages 729 through 742. On page 732, read about sharing a workbook among multiple users because this is something that you will use in the workplace. So please do not move forward without reading that. And then just quickly read about setting privacy options. All right, to enable sharing for the Cooking Craft workbook, open the Cooking workbook and do your file save as, name it Cooking Craft, go to your documentation worksheet and enter your name and the date. Things you've done a million times. I don't need to help you with that, so go ahead right now and just pause the video and do that. Step number 3. On the ribbon, click File and then Options. Step number 4. In the left pane, click the Trust Center. Then, in the right pane, click Trust Center Settings. Okay, in the left pane, we did that. Privacy options, right? If you didn't, go ahead and do that. Privacy options right there. Step number 6. In the Document Specific Settings section, which is right here, you need to make sure there's no checkbox right here where it says Remove Personal Information from the File Properties on Save. So, if you can, make sure there's no checkbox. Like me, for me, it's grayed out. So you don't have to worry about it, okay? Go ahead and click OK. And then click OK again. All right. Enabling workbook sharing on page 733. Just read that quick little paragraph. To share the Cooking Craft workbook, on the ribbon, click the Review tab. In the Changes group, okay, click the Share Workbook button. That's going to open your Share Workbook dialog box. Step number 2. Click the Allow Changes by More Than One User at the Same Time checkbox to insert a checkmark. Notice that your name appears as the exclusive user in the Who Has the Workbook Open Now box. Working in a lab, that's probably not going to show your name, and that's fine. Step number 3, click OK. Step number 4. Okay, a dialog box opens indicating the workbook will be saved. Click the OK button. The workbook is saved and Shared appears in the title bar next to the workbook name. And now you'll see right there it says Shared. Go ahead and close the workbook. Okay, on the bottom of page 733, go ahead and read about tracking changes in a workbook. Again, something that is definitely real-world usable and specific, so you want to go ahead and read that. Then you need to continue reading about it on pages 734 and 735 so that you understand what you're doing. When you get finished with that, turn to page 736. You're going to open a file called Team. Do your file save as and name it as Team Edits and put your name and the current date in the documentation sheet. So go ahead and pause the video and go do that real quick. Okay, on page 736, reviewing comments in a shared workbook. To review comments in the shared workbook, on the ribbon, click the Review tab. In the Comments group, click the Next button. The next, or in this case, the first comment in cell D4 of the Financial Summary worksheet is selected. It contains responses to Marta's query about whether to expand the report scope to 5 years. John and Larry suggest leaving the report as is. Carrie prefers the 5-year report. Okay, so take a look at figure 12-4. Okay, so this is what it looks like on your screen so that you can see the comments that people have put in. On page 737, step number 2, click the Next button again. Excel moves through the workbook, searching within each sheet from left to right and then top to bottom, starting from the first sheet and continuing through the last. The next comment appears in cell A21, which is selected. In this comment, John asked whether the number of employees reported in the worksheet includes part-time employees. Carrie responded that it doesn't. See it right here? Take a look at our name box. Okay, step number 4. Click the Next button again. Okay, click it one more time. And now you're going to get a dialog box indicating Excel reached the end of the workbook and asking whether you want to continue reviewing comments from the beginning of the workbook. Go ahead and click Cancel. Okay, quick little paragraph to read on page 737. To delete the comments from the shared workbook, in the Financial Summary worksheet, that's where I am right there, select cell A1. Okay, Control Home, and then you're in A1, right? On the Review tab in the Comments group, click the Next button to go to the first comment in the workbook located in cell D4. Okay, it's right here. Step number 3, in the Comments group, click the Delete button. The list of comments attached to cell D4 is deleted. Step number 4, repeat steps 2 and 3 for the other 2 comments in the workbook. When no comments remain in the workbook, the Delete Previous and Next buttons in the comment group are grayed out. So you're just going to hit Next, and Delete, and Next, and Delete. And now you see they all gray out because there's nothing else left. Go ahead and click back on cell A1 to return to the beginning of the report, and turn over to page 738, where you need to read about reviewing changes using the tracking log. Okay? To highlight and review the changes to the shared workbook, on the Review tab in the Changes group, click the Track Changes button. So I'm on the Review tab. Here's my Changes group. Here's Track Changes. And then click Highlight Changes. The Highlight Changes dialog box opens. You review all of the changes made by everyone but yourself. Step number 2, click the When box arrow. See where it says When right there and that little arrow right there? And then click All. This specifies that you review changes made at any time in the workbook. Step number 3, click the Who box arrow. Here's Who right here. Hit that down pointing arrow, and then click Everyone but me. This limits your review only to edits made by other people. Step number 4, if necessary, click the Highlight Changes on Screen checkbox to insert a check mark. Okay, Highlight Changes on Screen. I've already got a check mark. If you don't, just pop it in there. Click the List Changes on a New Sheet checkbox to remove the check mark. Well, I don't have one there, but if you do, pull it out. The Track Changes will be displayed in comments in the worksheet. See Figure 12-5 to make sure that your screen and your Highlight Changes dialog box looks just like this one. I'm going to check mine really quick and make sure I've got everything clicked that's supposed to be. And when you're sure it's all right, step number 5, click the OK button. A color border with a triangle marker in the upper left corner appears around each cell that was changed. Step number 6, point to cell A12. A comment box appears with a description of the changes made to the cell, including the author and the date and the time of the change. Okay, do you see it right there, how that pops up when you touch it? Do you see how it's colored right there? There's another one down here. All right, at the bottom of page 739, to list the edits on a separate worksheet. On the Review tab in the Changes group, click the Track Changes button and then click Highlight Changes. Exactly what we did just a second ago. We're going to pull that Highlight Changes dialog box right back up. Click the List Changes on a New Sheet checkbox to insert a check mark. Click the OK button. The History worksheet right there is added to the end of the workbook, detailing the history of the 6 changes made to the document in chronological order, along with who made each change, where it was made, and what kind of change it was. See Figure 12-7 on page 740. It should look just like what you have up here. Okay, on page 740 you have just a little bit to read. Go ahead and read all that because accepting and rejecting edits is something you definitely need to know about. To accept or reject edits in the workbook, on the Review tab in the Changes group, okay, Review tab, Changes group, click the Track Changes button and then click Accept Reject Changes. If a dialog box opens indicating this action will save the workbook, go ahead and click OK. Make sure Not Yet Reviewed appears in the When box. So right here it says Not Yet Reviewed. And Everyone But Me appears in the Who box right there. Step number 3, click the OK button. The Accept or Reject Changes dialog box opens, listing the first of 6 edits made in the workbook. The first edit is in the Income Statement worksheet. In cell B7, John Anderson changed the cell value from 3,600 to 3,900. Okay, mine's kind of covering it, so I'm just going to move this out of the way. So I can see right there I've got 3,900, and you can see the notes about what happened. Step number 4, click the Accept button. The edit is accepted and the dialog box lists the next change, which is in cell A21 in the Financial Summary worksheet, and it contains 2 conflicting edits. Okay, go ahead and turn to page 742. And I see we have bright yellow, so we're going to need to be careful and stop and read that. Step number 5. In the Select a Value for cell A21 box, okay, see it says Select a Value for cell A21. Click Full-Time Employees, and then click the Accept button. This accepts Carrie Lewis's edit and rejects the original text and Larry Todd's later edit. Hope you're not mad, Larry. The dialog box lists the next edit, in which the name of the worksheet was changed from Financial Data to Financial Summary. Step number 6. Click the Accept button. Carrie Lewis's edit to rename the worksheet is accepted, and the next change is listed in the dialog box, in which Larry Todd changed cell B18 from 2,330 to 2,150. Step number 7. Click the Accept button to accept the edit. The dialog box lists the 6th and last edit occurring in cell A12, in which John Anderson changed the text of the cell from Marketable Securities to Marketable Assets. Step number 8. Click the Reject button. The edit is rejected and the original text is restored in the cell. Step number 9. Save your workbook and close it. And you're ready to go on to your next video.